Morning all, welcome to another bite size within our modelling category. This morning we're going to be looking at scaffolding in terms of how we can actually provide supports for children throughout their learning, how much support that they need and when we might actually then take the scaffolding down as well. So in terms of looking at scaffolding for students in lessons, we need to consider four things initially. Now, first of all, we need to make sure that we have a component map. So we're mapping out all of the needs and the requirements of a task. So making sure that we are breaking down the steps that students will need to take in order to achieve success. So at this stage, we might need to consider any difficulties they might encounter, any misconceptions that might be common to a specific topic, and then design the resources that are going to support them to make these steps successfully. We then need to think about the detailed levels of support that we're going to offer students. So this might include word lists, diagrams, concept maps, sentence starters, sentence builders, useful phrases and connectives, different prompts for ideas, knowledge organisers, exemplars of different elements, but something that we could therefore then give students if they are struggling with their access to any kind of activity. We can then also look at this kind of supported overview, so more of a whole task scaffold that might include partially worked examples, gap fills, for example, checklists of success criteria, checking prompts, and again, exemplars of completed tasks as well, so that students have a really good idea as to what a good one looks like at the end of all of this. Our final consideration then, and something that will come in on the next slide, is to think about the different levels of scaffolding that we'll also introduce. Now, this is very much about who needs what in terms of the level of support that we are looking to offer. So we have different levels then to our scaffolding depending on who needs what, and the decisions that we'll make will therefore then affect what we actually look to put in place. Now, some students will be able to work independently immediately and therefore still be successful, probably based on the worked examples that we've provided them or any other live modelling that we've gone through. Other students will need more immediate support. However, it's often good practice to let all students at least attempt to work independently of us as teachers, and then provide the support when and where it's needed. Obviously, our job is, then to stand back, see what's happening around the room, and then intervene when we feel it's appropriate. But often then always taking the scaffolding away again so that students can be as independent as possible. So the first kind of level of scaffolding is correcting, actually going in and telling a student this is wrong, here is the right answer, and then having that dialogue with them as to why that then might be more accurate in terms of the processes that we've gone through. We will have had some modelling anyway, but remodelling of examples with students can therefore then give them another episode where they've got the time to process the different elements that then allow for success to happen. We can engage in cluing, actually saying to students, if you have a look at page 74 of your textbook, or if you look back at what we did last lesson, giving them a clue that directs them in the right area so that they can then start to go and find things out for themselves. It might be that we then subtly use prompting, kind of questions such as, have we looked at something similar before, or where might you be able to find this out? Just gives them a clue, a little prompt that we have done this before, but without explicitly directing them to a certain page or a certain lesson as we would do within cluing. And then finally we have the self-scaffold. Now basically, get out there and go for it, you're ready to do this without me. Now where we therefore then start is based on the confidence and the competence of the students themselves, and the decision that we make is, can we cut away from them? At what point can we leave them to get on and do the work for themselves? Now, essentially what we've got then at the correcting level of this model is a low level of pupil independence and a high level of adult support. And essentially, as we move through these stages of scaffolding, we're looking to reduce that level of adult support and increase the level of pupil independence. Again, as ever, I hope that's useful for you. Give it all a go, and then any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.